What it do, Tube? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. I am your host, and it is now abundantly clear to me that Coach McWonder is not a subscriber to my channel, or if he is, he has not been paying attention to my warnings, because he has clearly decided to continue to pursue a path headed towards certain destruction. Now, I'm not going to give you game analysis on that damn Dallas Cowboy game, okay? But let me say this. I'm not surprised at what I saw, because if you've been watching now, I hope you saw last week's episode. I told you and I warned Coach McGenius that unless you change course, you are going to continue to lose NFL football games. And he hasn't, and they have. Case in point, inactive for the Dallas Cowboy game. The Rams did not dress, once again, quarterback Bryce Perkins. And I've repeatedly said, this must be QB2. He hasn't dressed all season now. Okay? 5 games in, been on the inactive list every game. Street clothes. Coach's decision. But this week, McGenius not only left Bryce Perkins off the active roster, he reversed what little progress he had made by sending wide receiver rookie Lance McCutcheon back to the inactive roster. So now Lance McCutcheon did not dress. And I said this so clearly. Mr. McWonder, Lance McCutcheon gives you your best opportunity to inject some life, some energy, a deep threat into your stale wide receiver room. Now, I know you're enamored with Tutu. And Tutu caught a ball against them damn Cowboys. His first NFL reception. And it was the only one. It was a big one now, and I give him credit. It was a great catch. 54-yard bomb. He pulled it down, and they still didn't score. The Rams make a habit of turning first and goals into field goals. But Tutu, I don't believe, is the answer. Lance McCutcheon gives you an opportunity that these other guys aren't providing at this point in time. And you left him on the inactive list. Did not dress. Coach's decision. Now, I know that McGenius is completely infatuated with Stoney. And in his mind, somehow, he has come to believe that the stone-handed one can somehow be a viable wide receiver in the NFL / fullback. You must be on some hallucinogenic, with all due respect, Coach McG, to believe something like this. Now, I've been crying in the wilderness now. Go back, check the episodes. I've been saying this since last year. Stoney is not the answer, but he's one of McVay's proteges. So, once again, Stoney starts at wide receiver. And once again, against them damn Cowboys. McGenius trots out the same old wrinkles. Not fooling anybody. Coach's decision. Coach's decision. That's an important phrase. That is a theme for this week's episode. Because in the postgame, Mr. McWonder stood before the reporters and he told them, we've got to help our quarterback. He's playing his butt off and we've got to help him. Well, sir, you're the one who's supposed to help him. You're not helping him. Do you think you're helping him by putting a third string wide receiver at fullback and expecting to get production out of the run game? Do you? That's not helpful, Mr. McWonder. You're supposed to help him. It's your job, sir, to put the best possible product on the field from the talent you have at your disposal. And so coach's decision, Bryce Perkins and Lance McCutcheon inactive, do not dress for the games, leads me to think that the coach is having some judgment problems. And we're seeing the outcome. Now, Mr. McWonder, if you want to run the ball, this is free advice. I'm hoping you're going to take heed before it's officially too late. If you want to run the ball out of the I formation, then get yourself a real fullback. You can find a fullback off the street, a real one, if you want to run out of the I. But to try to hide Stoney as a fullback, you're compromising both your run game and your pass game. And both have been abysmal. Let's look at some of the numbers, shall we? Now, the Rams have the 31st ranked rushing game. 31st out of 32. They have the 30th ranked rushing yards per game. 30 out of 32. We're bottom feeding with these guys. They have the 29th ranked yards per carry out of 32 NFL teams. They rush just about 20 carries per game at about 68 yards per game. That's a 3.3 yard per carry average per game. It's paltry, measly, wimpy. I tried to give Mr. McGenius the groundwork for a more successful and balanced offense. And I called it the 20-25 rule. And all it really meant was you've got to eclipse 20 rushing attempts per game. You must. That's because he consistently would come up with 17, 18, 19 rushing attempts in a game. And I've been a huge proponent of putting restraints on that poltergeist of a quarterback you got, Matty from the D, a.k.a. Doctor Who. And restraints mean no more than 25 attempts a game unless it is absolutely necessary. Now, I understand that that's a difficult bar to reach for a pass-happy coach. I get it. But if you're in that vicinity, Mr. McWonder, if you're in that ballpark, you give yourself a better chance to win professional football games. So, the Rams last in the NFL in yards per play at 4.8. Last. Bottom feeding. The Rams last in the NFL. Last in the NFL in big plays. And big plays defined as plays of 20 yards or more. Last. The Rams are tied for last in sacks, allowed 21. Dallas, them damn Cowboys, got 5 more. 5 on Sunday. The Rams are 31st out of 32 teams. 31st of 32 teams in turnovers. 12 lost in just 5 games so far. Your haunted quarterback, Polte, worst in interceptions, tied with Matt Ryan. 7 picks from the poltergeist in 5 games. On pace to once again lead the NFL in interceptions. See, all these numbers are bottom feeder numbers. The poltergeist is also tied for second worst in the NFL in fumbles lost. So he's throwing it away and then he's bobbling it when they hit him. He's lost 3 fumbles so far, just 1 behind the league leader, Trevor Lawrence. And I know you say it's the O-line, the O-line, the O-line. Well, okay, I grant you the O-line shuffle has been in full effect this season. This game coming up against Carolina will mark the 6th out of 6 games, 6th offensive line combination. So there's no continuity on the line. And that's why I say you have to help them, sir. So let's look at the numbers now. Remember now, we're talking about the 2025 rule. Well, let's start with Dallas. Because last week against them damn Niners, Father Shanahan only had Jimmy G throw 27 pass attempts within the range. They ran the ball 22 times. In that range, they won easily. McGee was all out of whack, all out of balance, 48 pass attempts against them damn Niners. Now, this week against Dallas, let's look at the numbers. Dallas backup quarterback Cooper Rush. 10 completions, 16 attempts. 16! Only threw the ball 16 times. No interceptions, no fumbles. And Cooper Rush was the winning quarterback. 16 passes, under 25. Let's look at how many run plays Dallas had. Why, they had 34 rush attempts. 34. See, and there it is. They followed the 2025 rule. Cooper Rush, 16 passes. They kept that well under 25. Dallas Cowboy running backs, 34 carries, well over 20. They ran for 163 yards. That's a 4.79 yard per carry average. And they beat the brakes off the LA Rams. Now, let's look at the Rams numbers. The Rams this week had the Poltergeist drop back 42 times. 42! 48 last week, 42 this week. These games aren't blowouts early. They're within a score or two. But McGee completely abandons the run. He says, well, I'm not getting much, so let me have the Poltergeist sling it. 42 pass attempts, well beyond the 25. One fumble, one interception. It's a recipe for failure. And that's what the Rams are doing, failing. Now, here is a point of interest that I want to underscore when it comes to the Rams and the rushing game. Cam the Grill Akers has been a disappointment. This week against Dallas, he had 13 carries for 33 yards. Wimpy. 13 carries, 33 yards. That's a 2.5 yard per carry average. Measly. Now, as I have noted in previous episodes, Darrell Henderson at least is averaging around 4 yards a carry on the season. Do you know how many carries Darrell Henderson got against them damn Cowboys? Do you? The answer is 0. None. 0 carries for Darrell Henderson. Not a one, the goose egg. What's going on, McGenius? Coach's decision. For many years, my mantra has been, in McGenius I trust. I can't say that anymore. I don't know what happened to him. Is he drinking too much now? Is it he got married? I don't know what has caused this drastic change in this judgment discrepancy. But something's going on with this guy. The best running back you have on your team in terms of yards per carry is Darrell Henderson. 4 yards a carry. You give him 0 carries against them damn Cowboys. And the Grill, who is giving you little or nothing, gets 13. Makes no damn sense. Seems kind of cuckoo. Bird brain behavior. Now, D. Henderson did have 4 catches out of the backfield, but why isn't he running the ball? Then you complicate matters by putting Stoney in the fallback slot. There's more, unfortunately. Let's look at the rest of the wide receiver room. Now, for the last few weeks, it's been soup, Higbee, Higbee, soup, soup, and Higbee, Higbee, soup. That's what McGenius is living off of. He got the Campbell soup commercials. Now it's Higbee soup. He's living off Higbee soup. This week, against them damn Cowboys, Super Cup, 7 catches. And he got 125 yards. He had one big play. It was a 75-yard touchdown reception. I mean, it was a 5-yard toss where he speared it with one hand. Hell of a catch. And then it was 70 yards worth of yak. Okay? He's a great player. But beyond that, the Rams did not score a touchdown all day. Beyond that, they only mustered 3 damn points. Higbee, also 7 catches. And then beyond the 4 for Darrell Henderson were your 2 starting wide receivers. Stoney and A-Rob. Stoney, 6 catches, 41 yards. A-Rob, 3 catches, 12 yards. Measly, wimpy, pedestrian, pathetic. A-Rob seems clear to me at this point in time to be a complete and total bust. So, your starting wide receivers beyond Super Cup are Hands of Stone and A-Rob the Buster. You wonder why you're losing ball games? And coach's decision is to leave probably your best available wide receiver in street clothes. That's Lance McCutcheon. That Higbee soup must not be too nutritious because it's got him delusional and hallucinating. Will OBJ come back? I don't know. By the time they get through losing all these games, because they got the toughest schedule in the NFL, by the time they get through losing all these games, OBJ might not want to come back to that mess. Well, Van Jefferson, they keep saying Van Jefferson will be back. Like Van Jefferson is your savior? Really? Is that what you're banking on? The Rams are in deep trouble. I told you last week, I jumped off the bandwagon. Until and unless McGenius changes course, I can see what this is, and he seems completely obstinate to the facts and the realities. He seems more than content to continue banging his head on the same stony wall. Now, fortunately, if you want to find a silver lining for the Rams, after this week against Carolina, they have a bye. That's the silverest lining I can find. Carolina is a mess. They just fired their coach, and their starting quarterback, Baker Mayfield, allegedly is in a walking boot, so they're going to start some unknown, I don't know if he's a rookie, unknown QB, third string QB, I don't, because Sam Darnold ain't right. So I would hope that the Rams can win that game. And that's not a given. You know, Carolina might come into the Palace and be fired up with a new coach and a young quarterback and follow the 2025 rule, and they might put it on the Rams. But I have to at least suspect that the Rams can pull that one out. And if so, they'll be 3-3 at the bye. And that's the best case scenario. But then after the bye, them damn Niners come to town. They got the old goat after that, and the schedule is killer. So, unless there is a swift change of course by the leadership, that's McWonder and the Sneedster, unless they change course, this season is doomed. And the way they're giving up sacks, all them damn sacks, Matty from the D ain't gonna probably make it to the end of the season. You're gonna run the Wolford out there and they will be finished. Stick the fork in them. I haven't stuck the fork in them yet because I'm hoping that McGenius will come to his senses, but I'm keeping the fork close by because it's getting near that time. So I'm not going to give you the game analysis. It's a mess. It's a messy scenario. A cesspool of messy fools. Shout out Red Fox. What I will do is just cover the first Rams offensive possession. And it tells you everything you need to know. Okay? Now, the Rams' first offensive possession of the game against them damn Cowboys featured 3 pass attempts. So see, he came right out the gate. I'm wanting to chuck it. Want to set the tone. And after 2 little passes, they got to a 3rd and 1. And on that 3rd and 1, you would think, okay, now, let your offensive line fire off the ball, run the ball, and pick up a first down, move the chains. Not McGenius. McGenius said, no, I know Dallas has got a great pass rush. I know Dallas has a great defense, so let's start right off on 3rd and 1 and drop Matty from the D into the pocket to pass. And Higbee got beat on one side, and David Edwards got beat on the other side, and Armstrong and Lawrence converged on Matty, and the ball squirted right out. Fumble, strip sack, scoop, and score. Touchdown Dallas, and people were still trying to get to their seats. And this game was pretty much over then. The next possession featured a block punt. Riley Dixon got creamed again. But the game was, for all intents and purposes, over right then because Dallas never relinquished the lead. So, what is McGenius doing? And speaking of Edwards, David Edwards, he's back in concussion protocol. He couldn't finish the game. And then they come back the next possession, and now they're going to try that old wrinkly, stony eye. He ain't getting nothing with that. The grill is not plowing any acres. Okay? And hands of stone is not helping McGenius. So, and I'll give him credit. I'll give Mr. McWonder this. I like the fake punt. You need trickeration when your offense is in a shambles. You need to try and, pull the wool over them. So I like the fake punt, but that trick play, the soup, throwing the pass, that was raggedy awful. R to the AGGEDY. Raggedy as hell. That was not fly. AD99, the beast, he played inspired football. But so did Micah Parsons. So I'm sure the beast has heard all that Micah Parsons talk. And he had a good game now. It was a great game. Both of them played very well. But the offense is stuck on stupid right now. McGenius got to get in the lab and come up with something that worked, and they need to employ their best personnel. Otherwise, it looks like you're trying to lose. So my feeling is this. 20 rushes ain't enough. You need to run the ball 25 times a game, Mr. McWonder. 25. Even if you're only getting 3.3 yards a carry, whatever it is, run it. Let the O-line fire off the ball. Let them build some continuity. And you need to restrain that damn poltergeist you got for a quarterback, because your wide receiver core is paltry. Now, I hope that Carolina will not put up too stiff of a fight and you get to the bye at 3-3, but you got work to do if you want to salvage this season. And there's something telling me that you are going to refuse to do it. Why? As I said last week, hubris. That's that arrogance that, hey, I won a Super Bowl. I can put anybody in there. You can't scheme up success with less than quality players. You can put Stoney wherever you want to on the field. If it's not special teams, he's going to be a liability. I've been warning you. I've been telling you now. Promote Lance McCutcheon to a starting wide receiver role. Bring Bryce Perkins out of street clothes and off the practice squad and place him there at QB2. Find yourself a real fullback. Put Stoney back on special teams where he belongs. Now, I did see that Malcolm Brown rejoined the squad. That was good to see. You got yourself at least a real running back. You're not trying to promote Jay Funk, the legend of Stony Wolf Funk. But Malcolm Brown just came back off the street, so he missed an assignment, which led to an awful sack and an awful result. We've seen yet again what we've seen way too much of from the LA Rams this season in the deuce. Once again, we saw poltergeist strike. A poltergeist strike. And you know it's pretty much coming every time. Once again, we saw multiple sacks. I don't know how Matty from the D is going to survive a full season of that. Another fumble by the quarterback. Another blocked punt. Now the Rams fall to 2-3. Tied for last in the NFC West. Next up, as I say, Carolina, and then the old GOAT after the bye. Speaking of that old GOAT, did you see him? Did you see him trying to throw the MMA move and the kick when he got sacked? And that was an awful call. They took a chance away. And, you know, I'm watching that game, and I'm like, the Falcons, they are feisty. And they took a chance away from Atlanta to win that game against the old GOAT. They protecting the old GOAT. But there ain't nobody gonna protect the poltergeist. How many? Because he's haunted and possessed. So, it is up to you, Mr. McGee. You say he needs help, you got to help him. That's on you. That's on those coaches' decisions. That's that awful judgment you've been employing. Stop consuming the Higby soup and drinking the secret sauce. You need to be clear-eyed and sober about what's going on at the palace. McGee seems to have no answers on offense. He is now 9-23 when trailing at the half. Doesn't make adjustments worth a damn. 0 points in the second half of the Dallas ball game. Asses were thoroughly whooped on Sunday. We'll see if there's any fight left in these fellas. We'll see if McGenius stops consuming all that Higby soup and stops drinking the sauce. So until the next time, which won't be too long from this time, throw me one of these now. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click that bell so you'll be notified when I drop the next video. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Because, you know, the media is enamored. Stoney. And so until then, my friends, one love.